All right then. So now what we have to do is let's open up the schema.prisma. Okay. So here we are going to create the schema for a job, model company, just like the job. So I'm going to say model company, COMPANY company, open it. Okay. So now what we have to do is right after here, I'm going to copy this ID, user ID. This things needs to be same, no changes in that. Enter. Then I need to bring the company name, which is going to be the string itself. Okay. And then we need to bring the description. We need to bring the description, which is going to be an optional string, just like that. Copy and paste it. Then we need to bring the logo. Of course, that is also going to be an optional string. Oops. String. Right. Then what we need to do, we need to bring the cover image. That is also going to be the optional image, cover image, which is going to be the string, an optional string. Then we need to bring the mail information string, which is an optional. Then we need to bring the website of the company, which is going to be string. Then we need to bring the LinkedIn profile of that company, string. Then we need to bring the address line 1, which is going to be the string field, and copy and paste it one more time and change this to address line 2. Then we need to bring the city, which is going to be the string. Then we need to bring the state, which is going to be the string. Then we need to bring the zip code, and that is also going to be string. Then we need to create the relationship. So this is going to be many to one relationship, which means a single company can have multiple jobs, because that company can create a list of jobs, but a single job can have only one company, right? So that is going to be the many to one relationship. So here I'm going to say jobs, which is going to be map the job field, job as an array. Okay, so this error, you can see it is not mapped properly because it is not validated in the job. So right after here, now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna create it over here. Right after here, just like the same way what we did, how we mapped the category, we need to map the company. So I'm just going to say company ID, which is going to be the string as an optional one, and of course it is going to be the db dot object ID, the database object ID, right? Then I'm going to map this with the company, which is going to be the company itself, right? It's an optional one. Okay, and I'm going to create the relation. So at relation, I'm going to map the fields with the company ID, and I'm going to supply the reference, which is going to be the ID itself. Now we don't get that error straight away over here also, because we properly map the relations and everything. Then I need to have the followers count, which is going to be the string array itself, string array. Okay, then what we can do, we need to have this is an optional one. Okay, let's keep it as a string array itself. Okay, so here let's apply the overview. We need the overview, and let's apply the string optional one. Then y join us, that is also going to be the string. Okay, then at last, at the end, of course, we need to have these two, copy and paste it, created it and updated it. Then we need to create the index for what? For the company ID 2. Okay, so because of this relation, we need to create the index for this. So that's how it can map the relations properly in a faster way, because of the index, and it helps you to search the value also. That index helps you to search the values. Okay, so that's the reason we are creating the index. So save these changes. Let's get over here, shut down your application, and clear it, and let's say npx prisma generate, because we need to generate in order to use it in the client side. So now we can use it, then clear it, then npx prisma db push. So that helps you to push the data into the database. All right, so now you can see the index has been created, and you can see we have successfully have the company details. All right, so these are all the necessary things for the company. So we have created that schema. So now let's get back over here, and all you have to do is to close all the things, and let's get back to the app dashboard, routes inside the admin. So we have to create a new route called the companies, right? So we need to create a new route inside that. So let's go ahead and create that. So what I'm going to do is inside the admin, I'm going to create a new folder called company. Okay, inside that I'm going to create a new folder called company, and inside, one second, so it is going to be the list of companies, so we can keep it as companies, something like that. Then let's create a new file over here called page.tsx. all right, so now if I click this companies, of course we shut down our application, right? So here sfc, let's say companies overview page or something like that, and here inside here let's create a division, and let's say companies page or something. Let's fire up our server npm run dev, and let's refresh it over here. You can see it's loaded, middleware, everything, it's been loaded successfully. There we go. So now we are inside the company's page. You can see we are inside the company's page, right? So inside this company's page, what we are going to do literally, which is going to be exactly the same stuff what we did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply copy this division completely from here, then I'm going to paste it over here. Okay, so don't worry, we can simply add this next link, import, and let's import the, for the time being we can simply comment this because we don't need that plus. Okay, so if you save these changes, now you should able to see, refresh it. Here we go. See, instead of this new job, this is going to be new company, something like that. Okay, and instead of this create, this is not going to that particular route because admin/create is going to help you to create a new job. In this case, I'm going to create a create folder inside this company's folder itself. Here, over here, what we are going to do, we are going to create a new folder called create, and inside that folder I'm going to create a new file called page.tsx, and here this is going to be sfc, and this is going to be company create page, create a div, and let's say company create, something like that. Save the changes, and this time this is going to be /company/create. Save the changes, and now if you click it, you will be navigated to companies/created, where you can able to create a new company. If you click companies, you will be get back over here. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fetch the data from the from the database itself. Of course, we know that we don't have any data yet, okay, but we need to supply the data for the columns, right? So that's the thing. So what I'm going to do is, if you check the companies column, what are the things that we are displaying? Okay, logo, name, date, and everything. Perfect. So what we are going to do is, first let's change this function into an asynchronous function. Okay, let's change that function into an asynchronous. So we need to fetch the detail. So I'm gonna get the user ID from the auth, then let's extract the user ID from it. Okay, so if we don't have the user ID, if not user ID, then return the user to redirect by from the next navigation. to home. Okay, save it. Right after here, I'm gonna get the company's information. Const companies is equals to await db dot companies. So let's import it, db dot company dot find many, open it, var user id, then order by created at, which is going to be in the descending order. Okay, so let's do the console. If even if you're doing the console log, you will get the empty array only. Let's do that part later. So now what we have to do is we have to create the columns. So let's go ahead and create a new folder inside this companies called underscore components, and inside here what we are going to do is I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to paste it straight away over here. Simply I'm just going to redirect it, and over here let's delete this unused import statement. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to customize this columns fields, because we need to get the name, logo and the created at alone. We don't need anything else, just these things. Okay, and first thing, of course, it is going to be the name, which is going to be name. Then we need to bring the logo. For the time being, let's bring the logo alone. Let's bring the logo, and for the header, I'm gonna bring the logo created at actions. Let's keep the actions, and we don't have the category and is published. We don't need these things at all, and this needs to be at the top of it, the very first object. First we need to bring the logo. So save these things. Okay, so now instead of this job columns, this is going to be the company column. So let's duplicate everywhere and let's change this to company columns. Save these changes, and let's get back to the close this and go to the companies, and here we need to format those things. So let's go ahead and format the companies and everything. So here const formatted companies colon company columns, it should be an array, equals to companies dot map. Let's get the every single company out of it, create the value object, then inside here map the id with company dot id. Then if the name is there, then get the company dot name is there, then get the company dot name, or else keep it as an empty string. Then if there is a logo, if the company dot logo is there, then company dot logo, otherwise an empty string. Then created at. So let's get to the jobs page.tsx. This one, and copy this one and paste it over here, because we need to format it, right? But instead of this job, change this to company, and this format needs to be imported from where? From the date fns. Please make sure that you're importing it from date fns, like that. Then let's here import the data table. This columns, it's going to come from dot slash columns, and this is going to be formatted companies, and this is going to be the name. Save it. So now you should be able to see the logo, image and all these things. So far we don't have anything, nothing, literally nothing. So all we have to do is to go ahead and create it. So click new. So this is the place where we are going to create this. So jobs, let's close this jobs, let's close this columns for the time being. Now let's get back to the page.create. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this page.tsx, which is completely from for the job. I'm going to literally copy everything and I'm going to paste it inside over here. But this time, instead of job create page, this is going to be company create page. Save it. So now you should be able to see this form, which is for creating the jobs and everything. So let's go ahead and customize the every single field. Okay, so if you open the schema on the right hand, what are the things for the company? What we need to do? We need to have the name. So instead of this title, wherever the term we use the title, I'm going to change everything into name. Okay, this is going to be company name. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we need to update these APIs and everything. Don't worry, we will update it later. So name your company. What would you like to? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply copy from here, save it. So now you should be able to see name your company. What would you like to name your company? Don't worry, you can change this later. And instead of this job name, I'm going to change this to company name. And here I'm just going to type the placeholder. All right, so just like that. Okay, perfect. Cancel and everything. And now all we have to do is to update this API, this specific API. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the app APIs folder, and instead of I'm going to create a new folder called companies, and inside that companies, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new folder one more time, and I'm going to name that as company ID. And inside this company, I'm going to create route.ts, and inside this company ID, route.ts. Okay, so we're going to literally copy this job post and we are going to paste it inside this company's route.ts, not inside your company ID. We need to paste it in the company route.ts, paste it. This is going to be the post request. Let's get the user ID, and this time we are going to get the name from it, not title. So wherever the term we use the title, we need to change it to name. So let's change this to name is missing. So instead of job, this is going to be the company. Okay, instead of job post, this is going to be company post. All right, so now that API it's finished. Now inside this job ID we have this route, so let's copy this and let's get into the company ID route and paste it over here. This time instead of the job ID, we need to get the company ID itself, copy this company ID, paste it and paste it over here. So wherever the term job ID is being used, we need to change this to company ID, and we are getting the values. All right, perfect. Okay, instead of job, this time wherever the term job is being used, we need to change it to company, and this is going to be company. All right, so this is how we need to change the APIs for the companies and everything. Okay, so that's it. So we destructured the values and all those things. Perfect. So ID is missing, we updated it. Perfect. Okay, so now all these API routes and everything is being successfully finished. So close it. We just literally, because that is quite exactly the same thing, we don't have to change anything except only one thing, which is going to be instead of job, we just need to change it to company. That's it. So close this one, and this time it is going to go into the APIs folder of app, APIs, companies, route. So I'm going to copy this, and so on submit, it is going to go inside the API slash companies API/company, that specific company ID, and here this is going to be company created. Okay, once it's successfully created, okay, so it is successfully created. Is there or any error? We need to say what kind of error it is. So let's say toast dot error. Let's print that error straight away over here. Okay, so perfect. We are going to, once it's successfully created, we are going to push the user to the specific route, because so far we don't have that route itself. So what we need to do is, this is the route, right? So app, dashboard, routes, admin, companies. Inside here, I'm going to create a new folder called that company ID. And here I'm going to create new file called page.tsx. Okay, just exactly the same thing what we did for this. We need to do the same stuff for that. So we need to get this params and all these things first. So copy this. Let's get back over here. SFC. This is going to be job edit page. So not job edit page, company edit page. Here, paste it. Div. Okay. Instead of job ID, we need to replace it with the company ID. That's all we need to do. You don't need to change this to replace it. And let's get back over here. Okay. So we need to verify the MongoDB ID. So which is going to be quite exactly the same stuff what we need to do. So instead of doing all those stuff over here, I'm just going to create the divisions just like the same thing. So I'm going to copy this, and later we can delete the stuff. So I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it over here. Okay, so literally what we are going to do is, I'm going to bring this link, next link, import it from Lucid React. So here, then what we need to do, we need to get all these things. So copy this from here, and including this one also copy it, and let's get back over here where it has been. Yep, it should be right after this, right after here. Enter, paste it, and this time this function needs to be an asynchronous function. Okay, make sure that it's being imported from next navigation, params.company ID. Make sure that you're getting the auth, and import the db, and wherever the term job it's being used, oops, there are a lot of places, so let's change it one after another. First, what I'm going to do is title, action buttons, warning, we need to keep the warning. This is the container layout. We need to get this icon badges. Yep, and we need to get this layout, customize your company. So these forms and all those things, we don't need it because we are going to replace all those things. Then we need to change this. We don't need this tags form, delete it. And we don't need this description form, delete it. Perfect. So don't worry about this right side container. This right side container, we can keep it completely empty. This is just a right container, right? Then for the description also, we can delete this one. Perfect. And let's bring the banner. Perfect. And let's, so here, if I click the companies, if I edit any one of the company, okay, so we don't need this action. Close it. Perfect. So let's bring the rest of the stuff. So wherever the term job it's being used needs to be changed. Company. Perfect. Wherever the companies it's been So let's change this to companies, something like this. This is how it should be. Okay, slash companies, params.company id, user id, categories. We are fetching the every single categories. If not company, we are redirecting the user to this route. So company dot name is required, then company. So what we need to do is we need to bring the required field, right? So wait a minute. These are all the required fields. Let me copy and paste it. You can change these things. These are all the required fields. So this is going to be linked in something like this. Okay. So total fields, required fields, everything is perfectly fine. So this is going to, so I think we don't need the banner field at all. Yep. Wait a minute. So these things, it's not necessary. Perfect. Save the changes. All right. So this is going to be the company ID. So don't worry. We just literally copied and pasted, and then I just replaced these required fields. So I just copied it from where? From the schema, company name, description, logo, cover image. All these fields are required fields. None of them should not be empty. Okay. Only if all these fields are required fields are there, then only you should able to like what to say. If you have the option same as the publish and all those things, you can do the same stuff over here, but we need to make sure what are the required fields. We need to intimate the user, right? So let's try to create the company first. Let's say Zoho Corporation, something like that. If I click continue, so let's get to the inspect and console, or click the network, keep it empty. Now if I click continue companies, it's been triggered, and now we are getting, you can see all these fields are null, and we are getting the ID, and you can see we are inside that specific company ID field, and we should able to see this all the copied and paste the content. Just this is the content which we copied and pasted over here. This is going to be the company setup, company, complete all fields. Okay, perfect. Customize your company, save these changes. Now if I click over here, we should able to get back to the companies. Okay, but it is not getting the data. Now if you refresh the data over here, we should able to see the company data inside the YouTube job portal. Yep, we should able to see the company data which is displaying over there. Now if you get back over here, we should able to see the company details. Here we go. See, Zoho Corporation, it's on the date which we created, and if I click edit option, we will be able to navigate to that specific edit page. Okay, so we need to customize that particular section. Okay, so what we have to do is, let's get back to the columns. Okay, columns. So here, instead of jobs that particular id, it's need to take the user to companies that particular id. Okay, that is the route. So if you check it out over here, we need to have only the edit option, nothing else. Okay, so now if you get back over here, you should be able to, if you click that, you should be able to navigate to that specific customized page and all those things, where you can able to customize your all the company details and everything. All right, so now we have that. Next, what I need to do is I need to bring the option where the user can edit the name, right? So name, which is going to be exactly the same as the title form, that is nothing else. So which is going to be exactly the same as the title form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to collapse everything, get back to the app. In this case, what I'm going to do is page.companies. Perfect. We don't need this anymore. Close it. columns, which is not necessary anymore, and create page, this is also not necessary. Okay, let's keep this one. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get back over the slash jobs, job ID components, and I'm going to copy this title form, copy, and I'm going to paste it right inside this company ID. Instead of this title form, what I'm going to do is I'm going to name this name hyphen form. Okay, which is going to be the name form where you can able to edit your name just like the same way what we do have over here. Okay, so let's get into the page name form. Instead of title form, wherever the term title form we are using, I'm going to change this to company name form, something like that. So instead of title, wherever the term title we been used, we need to change everything into name. Okay, so let's say name is required. So form schema, everything is being updated. So we can get that ID, we can get this specific ID from where instead of job ID, we need to replace everything into company ID. Copy this. Wherever the term job ID is being used, we need to change everything into company ID, something like that. Okay, company ID. And wherever the term jobs which being used, we need to change that to what? Companies, something like that. Company updated. Okay, that's the API. So rest of the things we don't have to change anything else. So instead of job name, change this to company name. So initial data dot name, perfect. Field name, it's going to be name. So this is going to be, I'm going to type my company name. Perfect. Save it. And now let's get back over here. So we having the title. Okay, so now what I need to do is we need to bring the in the left container layout. So this is the place where we are displaying the title, and right after that title over here I need to bring the name form. So let's bring the company name. So company name, which is going to take the initial data, which is going to be the company itself. Then it's going to get the company ID, which is going to be the company dot ID. So save these changes. Now you should able to see your company name over here. Now if I click this and if I click Zogo Corporation updated, if I click save, you can see company updated and you can see Zogo Corporation updated, which means our update API is also working perfectly. So I'm going to keep this as the updated itself, save these changes. Now you should able to see, get back to the Zogo Corporation itself. And now we need to bring the company description. Okay, so we can simply type it by ourselves, this description. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this, copy and paste it, and I'm going to change this copy form into what? Description hyphen form. Okay, so keep the schema on the side by side because we need to copy the details, right? So copy this description. So wherever the term name it's been repeated, I'm gonna create a duplicate. Oops, if you're trying to simply do that, it's going to be messed up because for we have the class name as well as, right? So we should be very careful when we are doing it. So this needs to be, so first let's change this. Instead of company name, I'm going to change this to description form, something like this, or you can simply keep it as company description form to be more specific. And this is going to be description. This is going to be description, and this is fine over here, perfect, fine, and this is going to be company description. Here also company description. This name field is going to be company description, and if you check it out over here, what is the placeholder? This is all about yourself. So here we just need to say this is all about yourself, something like that. So save these changes. Now you should able to see nothing because we haven't added that straight away over here. This is going to be the description form. So let's get that description company description form, and let's supply the initial data as the company itself, then company ID, which is going to be the company dot ID. Okay, so here now what we are getting is we are getting some unwanted error. Okay, so what we can do is, so in order to fix this type error, so instead of mapping it to the description directly, I can simply map it to the company type itself. Now you should not get that error. So here there is a possibility of getting the initial data might be null. So at this point what I can do is I can say if the initial data consists of this description field, keep it, or else keep the empty value. Okay, so now this should not be an issue, and this is supposed to be an object, something like this. So default value, we need to get the description, and if the initial data consists that description field, keep it, or else keep the empty string. Yep, now there will not be a type issue. So by the initial data itself, we are not loading that the field value. We are directly loading the entire company, and inside this the form default values, we are destructuring only the description. If the initial data consists that description, keep it, or else keep the empty string. So you will not get the type error over here. So save these changes. Now you should be able to see the company description over here. Now if I get back over here and if I cancel it, if I refresh it, if I get it, and if I simply copy it, let me copy the Zoho Corporation. Okay, so let me copy this thing and let me paste it over here, and if I click save option, and you should be able to see this Zoho Corporation is is an Indian multinational technology company. Okay, so here it is using the text area. So if you wish to keep it as the text area, so instead of this input field, what you can do is we can simply change it to the text option. Okay, so what we can do is instead of this input, I'm gonna say text area, which is coming from add components UI, change it to that, disabled and all those things, everything is going to be same. And if it is editing, you can see instead of displaying simply like this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check it. If there is no description, of course we need to say simply the term as no description, right? So we are creating a paragraph and we are doing the conditional rendering over here. So let's import this cn package. Okay, so by default it should be looked at. If there is no description, it need to be in this color and it should be say no italic. And if it is having the description, print displayed, or else display no description. So save this changes, and now if we get back over here, this is how it looks. And now if I simply delete everything, okay, and keep it an empty string also, that will call like it shows as an error, description is required. Okay, perfect. Now we have the description over here, company description. If I get back over here, so, and if I come back and if I click edit, you can see I can edit this form whenever I need it. So now I need to bring this the image upload options, so image and the address details and all those things. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that stuff one after another.